So once again, I want to thank you guys for being here. We're going to talk today about how you've been doing over the weekend, how the buffer zone went. So let's get started right in on that with you, Stan. How was the buffer zone for you? What did you decide to do?
I added some fruit in the morning, and since I wasn't yet doing the alkagizer, I just added fruit in the morning. That's right, because I remembered what Eric said about we're supposed to eat fruit on an empty stomach.
Mm-hmm. So just curious, what kind of fruit were you choosing?
Banana, actually, and some blackberries.
Okay.
And then today was my first alkagizer day.
And how did that
go? Actually, not bad. I'm not a big fan of spinach, and Eric had said in today's video that we could change it up and have different greens or different whatever. So I did a whole apple chopped up, a couple of celery sticks, half a lemon just thrown in there, and I pulled out the spring mix, and before I put each handful into the Vitamix, I picked out the red ones so that it wouldn't be disgusting when it
So that's the one, the red ones.
Yeah.
I'll remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they make it kind of a brown and yucky color, and then a good dollop of avocado. I think what else was in? I don't know. In any case, I ended up with something fairly thick, and there was a quart of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric had said something like a 12-ounce glass, and I don't think I've ever had an alkagizer that small. So I need to get an ice cube tray and start freezing some of it. And I actually had a question because in the video he said the alkagizer hack was freeze it, and then the green part is done, and I didn't know what he meant by the green part.
The leafy green
Do
part.
we like? Okay, well, what about do we not? I know what I forgot. I forgot to put in cucumber. Do we not put in the cucumber and the avocado and the
Yes.
fruits?
So if you want to accelerate the process, and I mean, frankly, to me, it doesn't really make any difference. It takes.
If it's just the greens, that doesn't seem like
Yeah.
that much of a time saving.
It actually seems like more effort to me, quite frankly. But I'll go through this in case the ladies picking it up on replay want the answer as well. So if you want to theoretically accelerate the process, you can take the green portion, the leafy green portion, and put that in your blender to start with. You can add some lemon juice to it if you like. And basically you're liquefying that, putting it into ice cube trays, and then you just pop out the ice cubes and add them with the rest of the ingredients to make your alkagizer. To me, frankly, it seems like more effort than it's worth. It's easier for me
I kind of feel the same way. Yeah.
It's easier to grab the box of greens. And I want to hit up on the one thing that you mentioned, because I do exactly the same thing when I'm using the spring mix, which is pull out the red and red stemmed pieces and
Yep.
don't put them in, because although it makes absolutely no difference in the flavor, it tastes perfectly fine, but the muddy brownie kind of color just isn't really attractive. So if you're drinking out of a clear jar or glass or whatever, you probably want to avoid the red stuff.
Yeah. So I actually ended up doing mine upside down. I was using the big Vitamix mixer thing,
Container.
jar, I guess you call it, container. Thank you. But I had picked up the directions for the small ones. So I put my ice on the top, on the bottom, and then my solid stuff, and then my leaves, and then water on the top. It mixed up just fine. And I actually really quite liked the taste. It's more lemon than I've done, and I think I got more of a zing with it from the lemon peel rather than just the pulp.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. But tomorrow I think I'm going to use the smaller container and see how that goes. I got a whole quart, and it sort of took a couple of hours to get through.
Well, I think part of that was that it was pretty thick. So
Yep.
So for example, in the large Vitamix container, I do about 27, 28 ounces of water. That's the first thing that goes in, okay? And I basically fill up the entire 64-ounce container. So I use typically, if I'm using a regular cucumber and it's not gigantic, I use a whole cucumber. I use 5 or 6 stalks of celery, about a half or so lemon, depending on what size the lemon is. And again, rind, seeds, everything, it all goes in. I do 3 ounces of holy guacamole, which is nothing but avocado, because it's easier to
All right.
eat than trying to get a ripe avocado and cut it up. And then I stuff the rest of the container with whatever greens I'm using. And I put some ice cubes on top because I like them really cold.
Right.
And then I put it on and blend it up. That makes 2 days worth. It's pretty close to
Okay.
2 quarts, but it's not super thick. And you're still getting all of the
Yeah,
nutrients.
not if you've got a quart of water in there. Yeah.
Well, 27, 28 ounces.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to ingest for sure, as far as I'm concerned. And I put a jar in the refrigerator with the lid on it. And I stir it up the next day because a little bit of water usually separates out to the bottom. So I just stir it up, mix the fiber back in. Tastes absolutely fine. And
I was going to ask how it keeps. Yeah.
Nope, keeps fine as long as you didn't use the red lettuce. I mean, it still
Right.
keeps
Okay.
it still keeps fine, but you've got that muddy brown color to look at. Yeah, it keeps absolutely fine, and you're only doing it every other day instead of having to do it every day.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And and I've got the 2 small, the what do they call, personal size containers. So one of those is almost a quart right there, so I can store it in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just put it
Good.
or just put it in a mason jar. I mean, that's what I do because
Well, that's what I do with what I'm drinking right away. But yeah, it did take me probably till about 9 o'clock to get around to actually making the Alka-Geyser. I really didn't want to do it. My food devil was really sort of just, I mean, there were no arguments. It was just he was getting me to delay. and eventually, when I finally did it and started drinking it, and then especially after I'd finished it, I felt better because I had the knowledge that I had done something good for myself.
Absolutely. I know you really enjoy bananas and berries, as do I, but I'm going to suggest that as you get through the week, add in some different kinds of fruits as well, because remember, we want to go for variety. So try not to eat just the same fruits every day.
Right. Well, of course, there's lemon. I had some pears, but unfortunately, they were not really very good.
Oh, bummer.
So I have to go to the grocery store and get some more fruit. Is the bottom line there?
Yeah, I do too. Actually, I'm completely out. How about breathing in water for you over the weekend and today?
The water, especially yesterday, I had more than a gallon of water yesterday.
I did too.
And it still wasn't enough. I think that between the heat and the smoke. And today I'm kind of trying to remember. Well, not counting what was in the Alka-Geyser, which was some. I've had about 6 cups at this point, and there's a water bottle here right next to me.
Okay, good.
And in terms of breathing, what I'm trying to do is remember to do it before I get out of bed. And today I did remember, so that's progress.
Good job. Awesome. And keep in mind, whatever choices you make for both of you, whatever choices you make in the buffer zone are perfectly okay. That's why we've got the buffer zone. And so if you choose to do all of it over the weekend, if you choose to do none of it over the weekend, that's all cool. But in whatever your decision is about how you're going to approach it, what I really want you doing is paying attention to that decision so that you're thinking about what's causing you to make that choice at that time. So if you're choosing to do nothing, okay, so what is it that's causing me to want to delay? Or if you're adding everything in right away, what's causing you to want to do that? Does it feel like you want to get a head start or any of those kinds of things?
In my case, I think a big part of it was laziness because I hadn't used the Vitamix for a while and I knew I was going to have to reread the directions, and there's like 5 books that came with it to read. So not all of which actually have to be read. The other piece I think was kind of rebellion. I think about that Scandinavian guy that Eric told us about who said he wanted his freedom to eat what he wanted to eat. And Eric's answer to him was, well, if you go past a display of cakes, are you free to not eat any of them? And the guy said, oh, no, I have to have something. But my food devil, I think, was essentially saying I should keep my options open and not necessarily restrict myself to what this wild fit thing wants. So yesterday I had a bacon sandwich for breakfast,
Okay.
and it was delicious, and I didn't feel guilty afterwards. I didn't have heartburn, but it'll have to be a long time till I do that, because as I think you found too, with the Alka-Geyser, it's very hard to have anything for breakfast.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of concentrated food.
Well, and keep in mind, really what we want you doing this week is feeling like you're overfed. We really want you eating as much conventional food as possible, what you have been eating in the past, in addition to what we're adding in. And it's a difficult week for that. It really is. We get that. But yeah, it's pretty important to really almost feel overstuffed. And I'll go so far as to remind you that if you're checking scale weight, or if you notice that your waistband's getting a little bit tight, it could actually be happening, because we really are kind of overstuffing you this week. And that's absolutely.
Yep, I remember Eric addressed that. Yeah.
On the other hand, some people do actually start to lose some weight during this week, even though that's not how the program is designed. And oftentimes, for those people, it could be nothing more than the fact that they have not been used to eating fruit, and the fruit is starting the cleanse process for them, so they're already starting to flush toxins and stuff.
As Eric said, a different bathroom experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other reminder regarding the Alka-Geyser, while I'm thinking about it, is ideally, I mean, an Alka-Geyser is a hack. It's an easy way to get a lot of nutrients in really quick, but part of the digestion process is actually chewing, because it stimulates saliva production. So rather than, and I don't think either of you are having any issues with the flavor, so rather than like sucking it through a straw and getting it down your throat as fast as possible, kind of hold it in your mouth, give it a little bit of chew, let some saliva get going to help that digestion process as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
I did some of that today. There were definitely some, not huge, but small chunky bits, like maybe the size of a grain of that pink salt,
Okay.
of crystal of that pink salt, I mean. And that's fine, but it made it easier to remember to chew because there was some solids in it.
Gotcha. Cool. Excellent. Anything else for you, Stan?
Nope, that's it.
All right, Linda, what did you decide to do with the buffer zone over the weekend?
I wild fit it.
How come?
Well, because I don't want to take a break. I want to keep going, keep trying, and make as much progress in the next 90 days as I can. That's how I feel today.
Good.
Yeah, I did. And I have to be honest with you. The first Saturday first, I kind of screwed up maybe, but I thought, okay, before my coffee, I'll have the fruit, right? And I ate it, and I ate it slow. I couldn't eat it real fast, but it was so good with that lime on there. Oh my God, it just pulled out all the sweet and kind of sour tart. Oh, it was delicious. I totally enjoyed it.
Was that the picture you posted?
Yes.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was really
That was an attractive picture.
Good. Yeah. And I also wanted to show the picture to make sure it's enough, right? I used like 1 plum. I had 2 figs. And I didn't eat the whole papaya because that will give me a stomach ache.
Mm-hmm.
But I ate half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
Yeah, and so it was very, very good. And then I worked outside, and then as I was coming in for breaks, I'd suck down some Alka-Tri, whatever, the green, and I have questions. Now, I totally enjoyed that.
Good.
I used the recipe. It was delicious. And I had enough for 2 days. So, okay, well, 2.5 days, actually. And what I ended up doing with that to make sure it's okay is, I mix it up where I have it's to the top of the Vitamix, right? And then it's so chunky, thick, right? So I'll pour half of it in 1 cup and I add water, stir it so it's like liquid. I just suck it down that way. And it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
And then I had my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, can I have the coffee before the fruit? I'm not supposed to change anything, but I have to have the fruit in the morning. What is your recommendation?
So let me ask you this question, because
Yes.
I can't remember. What do you put in your coffee?
Just a little bit of milk, that's it.
Then wait until after you've had the fruit at least, and preferably after the alkalizer.
Okay,
Because
okay.
you're adding some dairy to it.
Uh-huh.
That will mess with your digestion for the fruit.
Okay,
Whereas just the coffee, I mean, if you were drinking just black coffee, it'd still be better to wait until after, but it wouldn't be as bad as having it with milk. So
okay. All right, I'll try to remember that.
cool.
I'm a little confused about what I can put. I mean, I have this recipe. Can I screw with the recipe?
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let me ask you a different question first.
Okay.
About how much water are you putting in your Vitamix first?
Well, I put that in last. I stuff it first and then
Put water in first.
okay. All right, I can do
Sorry, I
that.
forgot to unplug.
I didn't think it really mattered because it all gets mixed up anyways.
1 sec.
I think the Vitamix just works more efficiently if it's got water on the bottom of it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I just grind
But
it.
I did it backwards today and it was still okay. So I also don't think it's all that critical.
Okay, well, I'll do what Sally says because I know I'm doing it the way the program's designed to do it.
Well, and so all I'm saying about putting the water in first is that you're actually choosing the quantity of water that you want
Mm-hmm.
versus what will fit after you've stuffed it with everything else. Okay.
Okay.
And for you, Stan, yes, it worked okay, but you noticed some chunky bits, which you're less likely to notice if you put water in first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I mean, they weren't objectionable,
Right.
but I understand what you're saying. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me which order I put it in. So I may as well follow the directions, which are what you said, with the water first.
And then I wanted to say I did it Sunday too. And I have to be honest with you, it's freaking hard. It takes me all morning to do this, okay?
Yep.
And
It
it's
did me too.
really hard to have breakfast. I had breakfast at 11:30, right? But it's not, and you typically I'll have another shake with protein powder and more fruit, but that's my question, is I feel like I'll be screwing things up if I add more fruit to the protein shake that I typically have for breakfast. No? Okay.
No fruit. Well, so if all you have had, and this includes your coffee with milk, but if all you have had is fruit and alkalizer, you can put more fruit in your protein shake, although it goes against the grain because the protein shake is essentially a concentrated food. It's not a vegetable, right? You're using whey protein, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's not a vegetable, so you're mixing fruit with non-vegetable, and it is likely to cause issues with your stomach.
Okay. Well, it hasn't. Yeah. The protein powder I buy is a very high quality.
Mm-hmm.
It came out to be 100% after testing with no contaminants in it, which
that doesn't have anything to do with mixing fruit and dairy products, which is what
it's just the combination.
It's just the combination.
So I could actually give up the protein powder. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and that's why, for example, I want you to wait to have the coffee until you've gotten past the fruit.
Okay.
Because of the combination of dairy and fruit is just really not good.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Make a note of that. Combination. And why is it not good?
This gets to be a very long conversation, starting with why dairy is not good in general. So we'll skip that part for now.
Okay.
But what we do know that's the easy answer here is that fruit should only ever be eaten on an empty stomach, and it should only ever be eaten by itself.
Okay.
And never cooked.
Okay. So then, okay. So typically later in the day, I'll have a handful of blueberries. Can I still eat that?
Not
so my fruit. So I am changing the way I'm eating.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. In that context, you are.
Okay. That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will only eat fruit in the morning, empty stomach, alkalizer, and then put in the shit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask a follow-up question about that before we move to a new topic?
Sure.
So I understand, well, I thought I understood empty stomach, but if you said we can have fruit after the Alka-Geyser, our stomach's not empty anymore.
Yeah, as long as you're not having anything else. So you can eat your fruit with your Alka-Geyser if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, and that's actually okay because fruit and vegetables are more okay together than fruit and dairy or fruit and meat would ever be.
Okay.
And you're not eating like big heavy root vegetables and stuff like that would be more difficult to digest.
So
Gotcha.
I think that what I hear you say is the fruit and vegetables eating on an empty stomach allows your body to grab them and utilize them. The moment I mix it with something else, I'm not getting the full nutrition of that fruit or vegetable. Is that correct?
Yes, that part is true. And then the other part that's also true is that when you are mixing fruit with other concentrated foods, dairy, meat, heavy vegetables, root vegetables, that kind of stuff, you run the risk of having it sit in your stomach for so long that it starts to ferment. And then that also causes heartburn and indigestion.
Okay. I'm so excited to learn this because
it's really cool stuff.
Because
really
I'll tell you, Sally.
Did you notice when Eric mentioned mono meals today and he said, we'll come back to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it a lot. So we're not, and especially in the first few weeks of WildFit, this is not where our attention is going to go. But I'll tell you guys both, because I think it'll make good sense to you, that in the living, as you transition into living WildFit after the challenge, you may find your eating style changes completely. So for example, Linda and I went out to lunch, not this Linda that was visiting me, and I went out to lunch yesterday, and we went over to P-Dubs, and I would have normally had probably a mushroom burger, a burger with mushrooms on top, no cheese, no bun, lettuce, tomato, whatever. But as I thought about it, I thought, well, that's not really awesome. So instead, because the mushrooms are a vegetable, the lettuce and tomatoes are vegetables. And in the mono meal concept, you're limiting the quantity of ingredients that you have so that it's easier to digest. So instead of having that, I had the breakfast burger. Well, I didn't exactly have the breakfast burger because if I had, the breakfast burger would have been on a bun, fried egg, hash browns, burger, and some kind of cheese. Oh, and mayo. So I actually gave my order this way. I said, I'd like to have the breakfast burger. I said, well, not exactly. I'd like to have the burger and the fried egg. And literally the waitress is looking at me like that and, well, what kind of cheese do you want, Nun? And she said, so you just want the burger and the fried egg on a bun? No, I just want the burger and the fried egg.
And so when you say the mono, that would be, because that's pretty heavy right there.
Yep.
And there's no vegetables with that?
No, because it's much easier to digest just the meat, right?
Okay.
And so most of what I do now is like, if I'm having a meal with meat, I pretty much just eat meat. If I'm out and about with other people and whatever, I'll do it differently. But especially just for myself, I just eat meat for my, if I'm having meat that day. And then like my next meal will be nothing but salad with no meat.
Okay, and the combination of the vegetables and the meat, again, interferes with the digesting
Makes
and
it more difficult.
getting the nutrients. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, okay. So that's optimal, okay.
Yeah, but don't even worry about trying to do that at this
Nope,
point.
I'm not. I'm going to stuff myself the way I'm supposed. It's so hard to eat that much food. So I had to leave to get my mind off of like, oh, it's lunchtime, I'm supposed to eat, because I didn't want to eat.
Yep.
I do not want to eat all that food. It's way too much. I feel gross.
Mm-hmm.
Now the morning I notice I feel good. I feel good with the water, feel good with the fruit, feel good with the vegetables. the minute I start going back to my half a sandwich, not feeling so good, right? Yeah, okay.
Keep doing it, because part of what we want you to get to is,
Remembering how I feel.
yep, and you know, so let's talk about the emotional aspect of eating in just a minute, but I want to come back because I think you want to talk about other choices you can put in your Alka-Geyser.
Yes, I need to talk to you about that.
Okay. So do you have questions, or do you want me to just talk about it?
Well, I wanted to find out, do I have to use 5 celery sticks? Can I replace maybe a couple celery sticks for kale, my baby kale? And I just wanted to know, I know no root vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole avocado in there. Oh my God, that's to die for.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it's so awesome. So that I'll keep doing. But the celery, I'd be at the grocery store. I live so far away every other day. And that's too much. So I was wondering if I could put in maybe 2 or 3 sticks and then add more kale or bok choy or something.
So certainly if that's what you need to do, better than, you know, not getting any veggies in you. I find that celery actually keeps about a week at a time for me. So typically I buy a fair amount of celery at one time, and then
Okay.
and try that. I mean, if it's not holding and you're not getting enough in, then yeah, that's fine. Just
Okay.
substitute
Okay.
something else in. You're
Okay.
looking for quantity of high quality ingredients.
Yes, I buy everything organic. And then he said this week to add more vegetables in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where on God's green earth they're going to go. So can I just have another Alka-Geyser if I
can.
choose it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know, and in terms of, so like, what's dinner going to look like for you guys tonight? Do you know yet?
No, but yesterday was ribs,
Okay. And what else?
and cornbread.
Okay. So not any vegetables in there.
Oh, because I had so many yesterday. It's like there's just no room left, you know. I had 2 little ribs and that was it, and I was done. I didn't need anything else.
Think about it this way: if you had some steamed broccoli, you probably would have had somewhat smaller piece of cornbread, maybe. But things like steamed broccoli and vegetables don't really add much at all in the way of, you know, actual bulk. So that's
Or satisfactory.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we mean in terms of adding in more vegetables is, you know, if you were having previously, if your routine in terms of what you were eating was you never put a vegetable on your plate at dinner time, put a vegetable on your plate. Now, I know that you eat vegetables. I get that. But we want you eating even more vegetables than you've been used to eating.
Yeah. I like a salad. I do like salad.
Yeah.
And I like it when somebody else makes it.
Yeah, I like it when somebody else makes it eat too. You want to come over?
Yeah, I'll come over. So if I go out to dinner, I always have a salad because I enjoy them.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. But when I make them at home, it doesn't, it's a psychological thing.
Must be. I used to feel the same way about it actually, but I eat a ton of salads now.
Okay.
This is why I buy spring mix,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easy to just dip my hand in and pull out a few handfuls and put them in a bowl. And there's variety to it. So if I'm feeling lazy, which I usually am, and don't want to cut up some other vegetables, then at least I'm still getting 4 or 5 species in the bowl just from pulling it out of the spring mix box.
That's good. That's a good idea. Some spring mixes are a little bit too bitter for me.
And you like spinach, right?
I like spinach, kale, and bok choy.
So the spring mix that I get at Walmart actually is a 50-50 mix of spinach and spring mix. And I agree with you. I find some of the spring mix stuff to be a little bit bitter, but I always think of spinach as being sweet.
Yeah. I don't mind spinach.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I like the 50-50 mix better than the straight spring mix for me. I'll try that.
I'll try it.
And so, yeah, Stan, that's a great observation because you are getting multiple species just by dipping your hand in the box.
Right.
And there are other hacks for making salads easier to deal with. You know, if you're buying tomatoes, buy grape tomatoes. You don't even have to cut them. You know,
Right.
if you want carrots, buy the baby carrots. Throw a couple in the salad. That kind of thing.
I'll cut my carrots.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I'll eat carrots, but not. I mean, for whatever reason, they don't geometrically they don't work for me in salad. But those baby carrots, I will not buy those. They're really nasty. Well,
Really?
you can tell they rot in about a day.
Yeah. And they're already peeled. Most of the nutrients are in the
Yeah.
are in the skin.
Well, they're not even peeled. They're just regular carrots cut into that shape.
Yeah.
Those are not actually small carrots.
Yeah.
They're regular sized carrots that
they
were
build them.
mechanically cut. Yeah. So some of the packages actually say baby cut carrots with the word cut in little tiny letters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I buy regular carrots. They last longer, and as you said, Linda, I mean, I still get the peel with those.
Right.
Yeah. So for my fruit, I have to say I do have a variety. So we got mango,
Good.
papaya, watermelon, cantaloupe, blueberries, apples, bananas, and figs.
Cool.
Wow.
So you
Yeah.
got fresh figs?
Fresh. Yep. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like having a tablespoon of sugar with some texture. It sounds gross, but the flavor, oh, so good.
Where do you find fresh figs?
At the Nugget in the organic part of it.
What's the Nugget?
Oh, it's a cool grocery store. It's a grocery store that has the most unusual foods, organic everything. You can get just about anything you can think of in season there that's organic.
Cool. I
forgot you're not local here.
No. It's a beautiful store.
I think Sprouts might have figs though, Stan.
Okay.
But I'm not positive. And I apologize. I keep looking at Jack because he keeps snorting.
So this week, Sally, we do exactly what we did last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which I'm bloated, by the way. I look like I'm 9 months pregnant.
Good, perfect.
All right. And then
good job.
Thank you. And then let's see here. And we eat more vegetables, right? And we continue to breathe, continue our water, chew our shakes.
Mm-hmm.
And give me one more thing. Oh, and I love that he said that we have already, my committee is dwindling.
Yep.
About the thirst hunger and the nutritional hunger is starting to go rest. Yep.
Once you get a week's worth of Alka-Geysers in and all the other stuff that we're doing, your nutritional hunger will really start to tamp down.
But I have to say, my conversations and dialogue, it's like, oh, it's lunchtime, but I'm not hungry. I'm noticing, but I have to eat now. You're making me eat. But I did get up once, and it's like, oh, I want something else sweet. And it's like, okay, breathe, Linda. Take a break. You're not hungry. You really don't want to eat that shit, or whatever it is I shouldn't be eating. So it was good that I caught myself, and continue talking about it with everybody is good foundation for me to remember.
But then you went ahead and ate it, right?
No, I didn't. I couldn't.
No, you got to eat it. You got to eat it. Eat it anyway. Have the dialogue.
I'm gonna have a baby.
And then eat it anyway.
All right, I will eat it anyways.
Because what we're aiming for here, very specifically, and this is what's so different, is that we want you to reach the point as we get through this program where instead of feeling a certain way and deciding to give yourself a treat because you're anticipating how good you're going to feel, and you actually, you start feeling good before you ever even have
Yes,
that, right?
Yes.
So, and so it's very clear that that food has an emotional meaning for you, but we want to get you to the point that you will smell the food or think about the food and know what the effect is so that it is not something permanently that you ever really want to be eating again. And you need some more practice with that for that to become permanent.
Okay.
It's too
Okay.
soon yet.
Okay. I could recognize
sense.
it. I could be aware of the
Yep.
feeling.
And then eat it anyway and pay attention to how you're feeling as you're eating it and afterwards and an hour later. And did it satisfy that emotional need for more than about 30 seconds?
Okay. Okay.
Pay attention to that stuff. It's really, really important.
Okay.
Um, so, and in the Alkagizer, in terms of greens, you can use whatever greens you want to, doesn't matter. And that, of course, will be especially important for Dana since she can't eat spinach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's allergic.
Oh, okay.
And you're allergic to strawberries, right? Or is that her?
Oh, I have strawberries too.
Okay, right. She's allergic. Yeah, she's allergic to strawberries and spinach.
Yeah.
That's right. It's always fun when we go out to eat together because we all have our things. So we want to pay attention to all of those things. And then, yeah, I mean, it's really, this is, in certain ways, this is a tough week because we're asking you to eat a lot of stuff.
It is a tough week because I'm just not hungry.
Yep, I get it. And you don't have to, you don't have to like super stuff yourself. You had 2 ribs last night. That's fine. You didn't, if you would typically have eaten 3 or 4, you don't have to do that. If you typically would have had a big piece of cornbread, have half of it or whatever, but don't cut stuff out. Don't walk away from things just because the dialogue is saying it's not really what you want after all.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Cool.
Good.
And then the other thing that we want you doing to the best extent possible is optimally top grade your protein. So that's the difference between wild caught fish and farm fish. It's the difference between trying bison versus beef or organic grass-fed beef versus, CAFO beef, that kind of thing. Just try and get the best quality of food that you can based on your budget and what's available. So one of the things that for me that I finally got my head wrapped around in terms of how, it costs more to eat high quality food is that it may cost a little more to eat high quality food, but costs a lot less than being sick does.
Right. Agreed. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm constantly going back to Hippocrates and let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. So for you, Stan, what has you most concerned about getting through this week effectively at this point?
I think just the difficulty of getting decent produce. And I haven't actually, I think I've only been to Sprouts once ever. That was with you. I sort of don't want to, I don't like the idea of driving to Bakersfield frequently for groceries.
No, me either.
But I've been it's sort of hit and miss finding good stuff here locally.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys get like a CSA basket boxes, like from Farm Fresh to you, or do you have that availability where you have organic food shipped to you on a weekly basis?
No, the closest we have to that right now is Tangleweed Farms does periodic boxes, Stan. And yeah, the issue is for me, because I'm allergic to cilantro, I can't do it, period, because I can't trust that stuff hasn't been cross-contaminated. But they make up, the box is made up based on whatever is fresh at that time. So you don't get a choice, you get whatever they're giving you. And Tangleweed has a website, so you might want to check it out and see. I don't even know what the cost is because I know I just can't do it.
I will check. I would have assumed that you have to sign up at the beginning of the season, but maybe not. You said Tanglewood, right?
Tangleweed.
Tangleweed, thank you.
And at Farm Fresh Tea, I don't know if they deliver out there, but you can actually put in what you want in the box. Here's what's available, what you want or don't want.
Yeah, we don't have that availability.
Oh.
We used to have Abundant Harvest and be able to make certain alterations, but they went away. They won't come up here.
Oh, I see. I see.
And I think it's quite likely that I'm going to have to make a Bakersfield run at some point this week because I'm basically pretty much out of everything.
Well, maybe I can go along then.
Well, pretty soon you'll have that greenhouse, Sally.
Exactly. If it ever gets delivered. I can't wait. I mean, honestly, I harvested like 6 bell peppers this morning, a couple handfuls of tomatoes, some eggplant, cucumber. So when we're done, I'm going to go make a salad.
Good.
And I'll give you, this is one of my other salad hacks, and I can't remember if I've mentioned it to you guys before, but one of the things I love to do is roast vegetables in the air fryer and just dump them on top of the salad.
Yeah, you did mention that. That's a really good idea. I should try that sometime. And I don't even have to do it on a salad. I could just air roast them, right?
Absolutely.
Or air fry them or whatever they call it. Yeah.
And so the other thing, and again, like the Alka-Geyser, I'll just do like a whole basket full, and that gives me enough for salads for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because I prefer not to have to spend a bunch of time on food prep.
Yeah.
I try and do things that I can do over and over and over. So, cool.
Cool. Okay.
Anything else coming up for you guys? You feeling pretty complete today?
I feel good.
Go ahead, Stan.
Just a short practical question. It was kind of serendipitous in the light of the need for variety in vegetables because my next door neighbor showed up yesterday on my doorstep and brought a bag of 2 ears of corn and 4 different kinds of squash and lemon cucumbers. And I'm just wondering if you have any recommendation for ways to cook the squash.
4 different kinds of squash. What are they?
Well, I was afraid you'd ask me that. Let's see here. There's one green one with kind of ribs to it. There are a couple that actually look like little swans that are yellow with bumpy hides, and an orange one that's probably the size of my fist, and then an orange one that's like turkey neck.
Bring the orange ones back. I haven't ever seen those.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I suppose I could do that.
You can just show them to me.
I was thinking of taking a picture and sending it, but it's like, yeah, we're on a video call here. Okay, so here's the 2 orange ones.
A little higher. You don't need to be closer. You just need to be a little higher. There you go. Based on.
I think they're the same thing, or in fact, it might even be, it's one that the neck broke. Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty right.
And then here's this one.
Yep. That's
with its little blossom. Here's the white one. Is this a patty pan by any chance?
Yep, that's patty pan.
And then here's the green gourd.
Okay, that's an acorn.
Which is not quite the size of my head.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I like cube these guys and roast them, or do I have to have different methods for preparing the different ones?
Yes. So the acorn squash, the big green one, you want to do differently from anything else.
Okay.
And that should feel like it's got a pretty hard skin on it, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that one will actually keep.
Although this one has a hard skin too.
Interesting.
I mean, I can't squeeze it at all with ordinary force.
But I mean, like if you try and put a like a fingernail through it, does a fingernail go through it pretty easily with the skin?
Hey, Sally?
Or a knife?
I have to jump off. My grandchildren are here.
Okay, cool. You're good.
Okay. All right. Thanks. See you later.
We'll catch you tomorrow.
See you, Linda.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I can score it with scissors. All right. So talk about the acorn squash first.
So the acorn squash you can actually keep for the longest because that's considered more of a winter squash.
Okay.
It'll actually last for quite a while. And typically what most people do with that is just slice them in half, remove the seeds in half, stem to bottom,
Okay.
rather than circumference. So yeah, remove the seeds and then put them upside down on a cookie sheet in the oven at about 350 degrees for probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 minutes-ish. They usually take a while to cook.
Wow, that's like spaghetti squash.
Yeah. And then you can also do it in the Instant Pot. Although you'd need to Google acorn squash Instant Pot because I don't know what the timing is on that at all.
Okay.
And in fact, I mean, for me, if it were me, what I would do is I would cook it in the Instant Pot, and then I would roast and then cube it and roast it in the oven. That's what I would do.
Okay. Well, it's going to go in the oven anyway. I might as well just start cooking it in the oven.
Yeah, you can. The Instant Pot is faster for stuff like that by far, and generally easier to control. Either way works just fine. And then for the other ones, for the smaller yellow one and the big yellow one with the crook neck. So the smaller
Okay.
yellow one is a yellow straight neck, which is what I've been growing. Frankly, I typically just cut those up into bite-sized pieces and throw them in salad raw.
Okay. And that includes this guy, right?
No, that one I think I would probably cook in part just based on its size.
Okay.
So, and I'm not 100% familiar with that particular variety. So if it were me, I would peel off, I'd cut off just a little bit piece and kind of taste the flesh and the skin and make sure the skin's not like super bitter.
Ah, gotcha.
Because if it's super bitter, you want to peel it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And then
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, slice it up and bake it, or you can pan fry it. If the flesh itself is fairly sweet, you can just throw it in. Not bitter. You can just throw it into salads. There is never a problem with eating most squashes raw. And then,
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then the patty pan.
I can Google that. I just didn't know. I wanted to make sure I knew what it was, but I can Google it unless you have some wizard hack for it.
Well, no, because all I remember is having patty pan as a kid when my mother would chop them up into pieces, boil them to death, and then
puree them.
And then puree
to make them even more disgusting. Yes, I remember.
I kind of liked it when you got enough butter and salt and pepper on it. and
well, I'm kind of planning to not overdo the butter.
Yeah, there's a good plan. Absolutely. All righty.
I mean, I figure if I'll roast them in olive oil. So, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording and thank everybody for being here.